12 weeks of the NFL season are now behind us. Let's do Tuesday takeaways from Week 12. J-Mac, what's your biggest takeaway?
It's over and done with. Matthew Stafford is this year's MVP. It's amazing to think me and him were drafted in the same draft class, and this old guy is out there just performing. 30 touchdowns and 2 interceptions. Did you watch him the other night, Jeff Saturday?
Yeah.
No
Why are you
passes.
looking like that?
Yeah. Unbelievable.
Is that a 1-yard touchdown right there? How many do we have? We have
said a
12. We have
1-yard
12 touchdowns that are like 4 yards and less. How about is this like a whole season we're talking about? Come on, Jay.
We'll come back to it. Graziano, give me a takeaway.
The NFC East race is not over.
Oh my God.
Cowboys
This is going to be a week from hell.
21-0 deficit and beat the Eagles to stay alive. It's a faint pulse, but they have a pulse. And I'm just saying.
You okay, Jeff?
The Cowboys,
it's going to get worse, too.
This week, the Cowboys' opponent is a third-place team, and the Eagles' opponent is a first-place team. I'm just saying.
They play
that
Thursday.
That is fact.
He's involved in voodoo.
Well, Jeff, you're going to like this one even less. Neek, go.
The Colts have a quarterback problem.
Oh my God.
I'm sorry, Jeff. It's true. Like they had the best offense in the league up until this game, and when they needed this offense to do something, we saw that the Chiefs decided you're not going to run the ball, and it was nothing they could do. Like they went 3 and out, 3 and out, 3 and out, 3 and out. One of them should have been an interception, except the the linebacker and the DB were fighting over the pick.
Yes.
Like, it got ugly fast in a playoff level game.
We'll talk more about that one a little bit later. Meanwhile, Jeff, what was your takeaway?
I don't even remember right now. I know what it is. Big leads don't matter. Obviously, the Colts had, they have an 11-point lead in the fourth quarter with 9 minutes left. They lose it. The Eagles had a 21-point lead. They end up losing to the Cowboys. And then the Giants, they had a 10-point lead in the fourth quarter. Here's the bottom line. Defense wins championships. And as much as we love to talk about offense, when defenses start to lock these teams down, it becomes more difficult. Got a ton of respect for all those teams fighting back.
Well, the Cowboys locked down the Eagles on their final 8 drives. Philadelphia had 5 punts, a turnover, and missed a field goal.
That's brutal.
So 0 points on their final 8 drives, and obviously that set up the miracle comeback by the Cowboys. And as Dan says, maybe the division still has some faint question, and certainly the Cowboys are in the mix on the outside of the wild card picture, looking in, but still with a chance. And so we sit back now. I feel like we've said all along, something's not right with the Eagles, something's not right, but the trump card is always, what if they keep winning? Well, now all of a sudden they didn't win. So now what do we say about the Eagles offense, Dan?
Look, 2 years ago, they were 10-1 at this point, and it fell completely apart because the offense wasn't working. It was the same thing. Oh, but they're winning. Oh, but, can they sustain it? So right now, do you know a thing they lead the league in offensively? They have the highest percentage of drives of any team that end in a 3-and-out.
Right.
That's their league-leading stat. Like, it's real. This isn't a slump. I mean, this is a legitimately bad offense right now.
I'm going to give you 2 reasons why. Can we put up B20? It's not the full screen we had planned, but let's go to B20 if we can here, please. But we start with Saquon Barkley because this offense is really almost exactly the same conceptually and structurally,
very much
except that Saquon Barkley last year had one of the great seasons of all time, and this year, among 48 qualified running backs, he is 40th in yards per rush. Let me say that again. He's 40th out of 48 in yards per rush. Jeff Saturday, you are my offensive running game specialist.
Yeah.
What has happened to the Eagles running game and Saquon Barkley?
Well, I think it's a mixed bag, Greeny, and I'll say it this way. The offensive line has been banged up, right? Lane Johnson not being there, they average 5 yards a carry on his side. They average less than 3. I mean, it's a big difference. Dickerson's been hurt. Juergens has been hurt. Guys are moving in and out, so there's not the same continuity up front that they've had. However, Saquon himself isn't doing his part either. And I'm not just talking about the turnover, the fumble, right, which happens from time to time. But like putting your foot in the ground and going to get what's there has not been what Saquon has done. The stretch play they came out to the left and we showed in that highlight, the ball is getting pushed. He could have put his foot in the ground and go get 5 or 6 yards. Yeah. Instead, he tries to take that thing. He's always looking for the home run. I think part of the Eagles' problem in the rhythm, and to Dan's point of why you go 3 and out, is because you don't typically take what the defense is giving you. This was not a Jalen Hurts, A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith. This was not that type of issue. It was you don't do the dirty details right to put your offense ahead of the chains. And what that means is 2nd and 5 and less is a beautiful thing, offensive football. When you are second and long, third and long, it is drudgery because the defensive linemen pin their ears back. Linebackers play over the top. They're flying to the ball. It makes everything more difficult. They are not doing the dirty right, and part of that is on Saquon. And I'm just going to put this out there. When Bigsby has been in the game, and he's not in very often, he runs behind his pads downhill, and they are producing yards that way. That tells me that the style of run is different, right? It is,
that's Tank Bigsby.
Yeah, you put your head down, you put your foot in the ground, you go get what's there. It's not always pretty, it's not always sexy, but it opens up everything else.
It's a very problem if he doesn't have any of the booms, which he hasn't had this year, which we've chalked up a lot to the offensive line. And watching this last game was the first time what you saw, like, oh, maybe it's some of Saquon also getting tackled in the open field by Overshown. It's like the Green Bay game just earlier this year. They won that game in part because they couldn't bring Saquon down in the open field. But in this particular game, we see this situation. When you have a superstar back like this, you want him to get 7, 8, 9 yards on a play like that and not be able to be tackled.
Yeah, DeMarion Overshown making back-to-back, or not back-to-back, but two really good plays. Yeah, this one, Saquon sort of slips.
Yeah.
But one way or another, the Cowboys' defense is better than it was, but Saquon Barkley, and I'm not trying to make excuses, but this is the reality of it. Historically, when running backs have these seasons like he had last year where they touch the ball on every play, 400-plus touches, the next year it's never the same again. And maybe it's as simple as that.
Some of that, and I think also in those plays we're showing, like, most of them, Saquon Barkley's getting hit in the backfield. And Hembo said that to me this morning, where he has the same amount of negative runs as Ashton Genty. And we talk about the Raiders. We talk about how bad their offensive line is, and they just fired Chip Kelly, their offensive coordinator. On these runs, like, we're expecting Saquon Barkley to be superhuman. As soon as he got the ball, Quentin Williams had a hand on him. So some of these things are an offensive line issue, and Jeff made mention of that as well. So, yes, we can look at Saquon Barkley, and he's the exact same he was last year after he carried the ball 1,000 times. Probably not. But at the same time, there needs to be more space because, to your point, Nick, that's the type of back he is.
And can I say this? When teams realize, like, that your back is going to stutter before he hits the hole, a ton of slants and penetrations. So teams will either slant to the gap beside him, which makes it more difficult, like there's not good fits, or they try to penetrate the line of scrimmage. If you watch the Cowboys, they were literally tackling the run on the way to Jalen Hurts. When you have those kind of experiences, there has to be an answer offensively, and the Eagles have not presented that.
There you see it, 482 touches last year. Impressions of an extraordinary Thanksgiving trio of games. Neek, what's the first thing you're watching for Packers-Lions?
Well, if the Lions can do anything with Micah Parsons, I want to see that O-line be able to slow him down because he was a menace in the last game. If he didn't get the sack, he caused the sack. And I think that trade obviously panned out well for this team, and we'll see if the Lions can slow down because their O-line hasn't been as dominant as they were in previous seasons.
It's a game the Lions really need to win if you look at the NFC playoff picture. Jeff, the nightcap will be Bengals-Ravens. What are you looking for in that game?
Oh, make it go, Joe. He's back, baby. They got to win the rest of them to go to playoffs. He's back. They got to be fired up. Jamar Chase back in action. This is all about Joe Burrow. Be disingenuous to say guys come back without rust. I'm excited to see how quickly he can adapt, what he can do with this offense. Because, look, they're going to have to score points. With their defense, can he do this? Can he get this team rolling as quickly as week one?
They're playing the team they need to catch, so it gives them some chance. And then J-Mac, obviously sandwiched in between those two, we get Chiefs and Cowboys. What's your first impression?
We talk about Patrick Mahomes as possibly becoming the GOAT at the quarterback position. Dak Prescott, go out there on Thursday and be the best quarterback on the field. You and Schottenheimer put an offensive performance together that leaves everybody convinced that the Cowboys are still alive and they have a shot at the playoffs.
Well, let me show you exactly what is at stake for the Dallas Cowboys in this game. If the Cowboys lose to Kansas City the day after tomorrow, they will have, according to our analytics, just a 4% chance of making the playoffs. So there's this way of looking at it. That comeback win against the Eagles was thrilling. It was an unforgettable game, but it will really have meant nothing if they don't win the game against Kansas City on Thursday.
No. Don't say it. It does not mean nothing. Like they put two really good weeks together. You're seeing the building, the foundation of this Cowboys team post Micah Parsons. So irrespective of what happened, don't miss the mark. This team has put something on film that they can build on with the addition of Kenny Clark and now Quentin Williams and Logan Wilson. And you see Dak with George Pickens, who's probably the best receiver besides JSN in our league right now. I make fun of Jerry all the time, but he's put this foundation of the Cowboys. So whatever happens, they have a lot to look forward to in the future.
It's hilarious because Jeff sounds a lot like what me and Graz sounded like last week. He was like, "It's just the Raiders. You guys are getting."
It took me a week. It took me a week. I'm a little patient. More patient.
Back and dove into the film.
We did it. We saw it against the Eagles, and now you're on board with all these new additions. But yeah, this defense looks great.
They beat my squad, man.
I will say, I look at the Cowboys, and whether they make the playoffs or not, I think by the end of the season, they're going to be a top 7 team in the NFC. Now, they may just fall short in the fact that they dug themselves in too big of a hole, but I think by the end of the season, we're going to look at them and say they're one of the better teams in our league.
Eberflus is loose. I'll buy all of this. So let's deal in this season. Yeah. I'm fascinated by what you said, J-Mac. Patrick Mahomes is one of the greatest and maybe on his way to being the greatest quarterback of all time. Full stop. That said, right now, Dak is playing better, right? Is that a reasonable thing to say?
Absolutely.
Dak is having a better year than Mahomes.
He is, especially when they're at home. Dallas is a juggernaut offense. The Chiefs' offense has been good, right? They gain a lot of yards, but they haven't had those explosives, and they haven't been able to score at the level that Dallas, especially Dallas averages 33 a game at home.
Insane.
Like that's, I mean, yeah. So, and they know the Thanksgiving turnaround, all that stuff.
Let's go ahead and get to what we want to really talk about. George Pickens.
Okay, let's talk about George Pickens.
The way that he is playing right now, it is not crazy to say that he is playing as well as any receiver in football not named JSN. Everything that he does seems perfect. The way he catches, he tracks the ball downfield, the way he attacks, there's nothing that he can't do. You can throw him a screen and he'll turn it into a touchdown. You throw it up and he'll go up and moss people, take it off people's back. It's the way that he's impacted this offense. Because there's thing about playing quarterback is, for Dak at least, there are going to be some really tough throws.
Yeah.
He's made them.
Yeah.
But you know, it's really nice sometimes to not have to think about it and throw it at 3 and trust that good things are probably going to happen.
And I want to give Schottenheimer a ton of credit in this as well, man. Like, there was no panic. Like, and typically you see the Cowboys panic when they go down, but they didn't get out of their offense. He was still feeding Williams. He was still balancing the ball. I know CD didn't have a great game. He had some drops, but he got plenty of opportunities. So did George Pickens, Ferguson. Like, they did a fantastic job of not letting the moment overtake them. I had a ton of respect for the way they played. And literally their defense, from 2 minutes into the second quarter, the Eagles don't score again. Now they got some freak fumble, right, and a missed field goal, but that team as a whole, Schottenheimer has done a really good job of these guys buying in to, hey, keep fighting, keep battling. We're going to win this thing in the end.
And you gotta point out that he has helped manage them through an extremely difficult time, losing their teammate Marshawn Nealon. And obviously, you can see the inspiration that has provided. They got the flag there, but you talk about like a coaching. I mean, the leaders of the team have to be able to shepherd you through a time like that, and they seem to have come out of it, in a decent place emotionally.
And I love that point of bringing them all together, all the different personalities. As you mentioned, a guy like George Pickens who gets traded from Pittsburgh, and there's all type of issues, and people saying that he gets to Dallas, and he's been unbelievable. And I think that goes back to the original point of the Dak Prescott of it all. We talk about some great receivers in our league, and a lot of them are made up off of really good quarterbacks.
Amen.
For George Pickens this year, we're talking about him as being one of the best wide receivers in the league because he has a quarterback that's playing like one of the best quarterbacks in the league. That allows you to unlock so much more within your offense. So a ton of credit goes to Dak for his performance, but also his leadership. There's 2 wide receivers out there that you're trying to feed and keep both of them happy. Pickens, a huge game. CeeDee Lamb, not a good game at all.
You do not envy them, dude.
Yes.
You do not envy them.
You lived it.
Oh, my word. You do not envy that. Them quarterbacks, like, I know they get paid a lot. Hey, they earn it in that locker room sometimes. You got 2 dogs on the outside.
And then your center wants to run the daggone ball.
Absolutely. Let's go run that thing.
But they do. And they continue to run the ball also with Javonte Williams. They just have a really good offense.
Yeah.
They have, I mean, look, maybe we say this. Is Dak playing better than Mahomes? Yes.
Yeah.
If Mahomes had Pickens and Lamb, then it might be a little different conversation. Now, is this a must-win for the Chiefs? Let's have that conversation. If they lose the day after tomorrow, their chances of making the playoffs fall below 46%. Wow. You might think that even sounds high. Our analytics still love the Chiefs, and the reality is there are going to be teams that get it. It's going to be harder to get into the NFC playoffs than it is to get into the AFC playoffs. They'll have a chance. I know they lose the tiebreakers to the Jaguars and the Bills, so they would find themselves in a tough spot. But, Jeff, when I asked you about why are you shaking your head like that?
He said not the Colts.
I'm just frustrated.
He's still upset.
Oh, the Colts.
frustrated.
We're going to let you vent about the Colts a little bit later.
I know.
But it does kind of come from what we just saw the Chiefs do to the Colts.
Yeah.
Because when I asked you, how did the Chiefs beat the Cowboys, you went right to the defense.
Defense wins championships. And
Hey,
listen, they locked my boys up. You think they gave up 10 first downs, y'all, in a game against arguably the best offense, or what we talked about as the best offense in the NFL for a number of weeks, and they put the clamps on these dudes. And Spags had listen, he brought it out of his bag. They had run stunts. They were bringing blitzes off it. They made sure Jonathan Taylor was not going to be the hero. They forced Daniel Jones to try to beat him. He didn't make enough plays. They didn't make enough plays on the outside. But when we boil it down, and you start looking at teams why they get a 46% chance, because that defense will keep you in a lot of games. And offensively, by the way, they freaking toted it. Hunt freaking toted it and made play like they got back into it.
So listening to all that, they must have won by 20, right? Like
No.
They must have rested their guys in the fourth quarter. No. They barely won the game.
Yeah.
Like there's something about this Chiefs team that they end up in these tight games. And where historically they would do something at the end to win that game, which they did Sunday.
Yep.
That's the first time this year we've
That's
seen
right,
it.
yeah.
So it's been weird. What are they going to take away from Dallas? You said they take away Jonathan Taylor from the Colts. That's an easy decision.
I'm circling Pickens. I'm gonna make Lamb. And as crazy as that sounds,
That sounds crazy.
I'm making Lamb. Lamb is gonna be I'm gonna let him. And let's see what happens.
The player that we are going to take the attention away from is the Cowboys 88. Like, how insane a way to approach that game
I know.
is that? Like, I do think that one thing that Jeff mentioned about the Chiefs, though, is important, is that as much as we like to do, and Jeff's gonna love this, analytics, and we like to think about pass game design and formations and motions, when it comes down to it, if you can run the ball and play good defense. It's physicality. As much as we want to talk about all this other stuff in football, we haven't quite figured out how to measure this statistically, so some people don't appreciate it. Bust somebody in their mouth.
Keep hitting them.
You're going to win a lot of games.
So let me try and summarize the conversation we've had. One, the Chiefs are going to try and take away George Pickens.
Yes. Yep.
So if you're making fantasy decisions or whatever, instead of turkey on this Thanksgiving, we're having lamb. And then second,
He just wanted to set that one up.
Wow.
He was thinking about that the whole time.
It really was pretty circuitous.
they don't put you in these Hall of Fames for nothing. Anyway,
Then the slight flex.
more important.
Y'all don't got home.
More importantly, if Patrick Mahomes is going to beat the Cowboys, this is the question I have. We said after the Raider game, the Cowboys defense, throw that out, it's just the Raiders.
Yeah.
Now they just stopped the Eagles when the game mattered. They held them down to nothing. Is this a harder test for the Cowboys defense? Is Kansas City's offense a tougher test than the Eagles offense?
I believe so, and I think it's because the guy that's under center, Patrick Mahomes, even in that game, we talk about how well they ran the ball with Kareem Hunt. On those last drives, it's Patrick Mahomes extending the play and doing something special to help propel them to win the game. And I think that's the difference. That's why when we look at these analytics and we see that the Chiefs will have a 46% chance to still make their playoffs with a loss, is because of 15. He finds a way late in the game for the majority of his career. This is the first time this season. Does that continue to happen? At some point on Thursday, the Dallas defense is going to be on the field. It's going to be the fourth quarter. It's going to be your chance to get off the field and make a play. Whether they do that or they don't, to me, is going to decide this game.
I'll put something else on that before we even get to the quarterbacks, it's a much more difficult test because they do different things.
Yes. Yeah,
like, that's the thing.
true.
And I know that we spend a lot of times talking about the Eagles offense and how, like, elementary it is or rudimentary, depending on who you talk to, that offense is. But I think the reason why the Chiefs are tougher is they've added the running attack in this last week. And they also, they'll attack you in different ways. They have different ways to attack zone, different ways to attack man, different weapons. They have adjustments in their routes that are not even in the game plan. That ain't what you get with the Eagles. With the Eagles, you're like, all right, are you good enough to stop this really great player?
Yeah.
We're going to tell you what we're going to do. Can you stop it?
It's going to be interesting to see if the Cowboys decide they're going to crowd the line of scrimmage and stop Hunt and make the ball go over the top. Because if I'm scripting it, that's what I would do. I would try to limit that and make Mahomes, as crazy as it sounds, make them beat me down the field.